The forest breathes with you, its leaves rustling in a rhythm that mirrors your own heartbeat. Can you feel it? The way the earth holds you, cradles you, as though you are a part of its ancient, unbroken song. There is no need to hurry here, no need to push or pull. The trees do not strain to grow, they simply grow. The river does not force its way to the sea, it flows. And you too are flowing, even when you feel still. Perhaps in this moment, you can allow yourself to be carried by that current, to trust that it knows where it is going, even when you do not. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a vast meadow, stretching endlessly in every direction. The grass sways gently in the breeze, each blade bending but never breaking. This is the nature of life: softness, resilience, and an inherent ability to yield without resistance. You are like that grass, though you may not always feel it. The winds of change may come, fierce and unrelenting, but you are not meant to stand rigid against them. You are meant to sway, to move with them, to let them pass through you without uprooting you. Can you feel the freedom in that? To let go of the need to control, to simply be as you are, here and now? There is a quiet wisdom in the way the seasons unfold, each one arriving in its own time, unburdened by the need to rush or linger. Winter does not envy spring for its flowers, nor does summer resent autumn for its cool embrace. They simply are, each one a necessary part of the whole. And you too are a season in the great cycle of existence. You are not meant to be everything at once, nor are you meant to hold on to any one moment forever. Can you see the beauty in that? In the impermanence, the transience, the ever-changing nature of all things? Life is not a puzzle to be solved, but a dance to be lived, each step a fleeting expression of something eternal. Notice the way the light shifts as the day turns to evening, the sky painted in hues of gold and crimson. It is a reminder that all things pass, even the most breathtaking moments. But there is no sorrow in this, only a quiet acceptance, a knowing that each ending is also a beginning. The night does not mourn the loss of the sun, it embraces the stars. And so too can you embrace the cycles of your own life, the highs and lows, the joys and sorrows as integral parts of your journey. There is no need to cling to what is gone or to fear what is to come. Everything is as it should be, even when it feels otherwise. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly, feeling the weight of your thoughts dissolve with each exhale. There is a stillness within you, a calm that exists beneath the surface of your mind, like the depths of a lake untouched by the wind. It is always there, waiting for you to return to it, waiting for you to remember that you are more than your thoughts, more than your worries, more than your struggles. You are the lake itself, vast and unshakable, capable of holding all that comes to you without being disturbed. Can you feel that? The peace that comes from simply being, from letting go of the need to do or fix or change. Imagine now a single leaf falling from a tree, drifting slowly to the ground. It does not fight the pull of gravity, nor does it resist the breeze that carries it. It simply falls, surrendering completely to the moment. And in that surrender, there is a kind of grace, a beauty that comes from letting go. You too can find that grace, that beauty in the act of surrender. Not surrender as defeat, but surrender as trust, as a deep knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Can you let go, even just a little, and allow yourself to be carried by the currents of life? There is a story the earth tells, written in the rings of trees and the layers of stone. It is a story of patience, of slow and steady growth, of transformation over time. You are part of that story, a thread in the vast tapestry of existence. Your struggles, your triumphs, your moments of doubt and clarity, they are all part of the greater whole. There is no need to rush your journey, no need to compare it to anyone else's. Your path is yours alone, and it is unfolding perfectly, even when it feels uncertain. Can you trust in that? In the wisdom of the universe? In the unseen hand that guides you? Listen to the silence between your thoughts, the space that exists when the mind is still. It is in that silence that you will find your true self, the part of you that is untouched by the chaos of the world. It is not something you need to create or search for. It is already there, waiting for you to notice it. Like the moon reflecting on a still pond, it is always present, even when the surface is rippled by the wind. Can you rest in that stillness, even for a moment, and feel the peace that comes from knowing you are enough, just as you are? The world is full of noise, of distractions, of endless demands on your time and attention. But beneath it all, there is a quiet pulse, a rhythm that beats in harmony with the universe. It is the rhythm of life itself, the flow of energy that connects all things. And you are a part of that flow, a single note in the great symphony of existence. There is no need to fight against it, no need to try to change it. You are already in it, already at home in the vastness of it all. Can you feel that? The sense of belonging, of being exactly where you are meant to be? As you move through your day, take a moment to notice the small things. The way the sunlight filters through the leaves, the sound of birdsong in the distance, the feel of the ground beneath your feet. These are the moments that make up your life, the threads that weave the fabric of your existence. They are not insignificant, nor are they to be overlooked. They are the essence of it all, the beauty that exists in the here and now. Can you be present for them, fully and completely, without the need to analyze or judge? And finally, as the day draws to a close and the world settles into the quiet of night, remember this: you are not separate from the universe. You are it, and it is you. The same energy that flows through the stars flows through you. The same life force that animates the trees animates your being. There is no need to search for happiness, for it is already within you, waiting to be discovered. It is not something to be achieved or earned. It is your birthright, your true nature. Can you let go of the search, of the striving, and simply allow it to be? In that allowing, in that surrender, you will find what you have always been seeking. Imagine for a moment the way a leaf falls from a tree. There is no rush, no resistance, no clinging to the branch that once held it. It simply lets go, carried by the unseen breath of the wind, and in its descent, it finds a kind of grace. This is not a passive act, but a profound surrender to the natural order of things. You too are part of this order, though it may not always feel that way. Life, in its infinite complexity, often seems to demand from you a sense of control, a tight grip on the reins of your experience. But what if, like the leaf, you could release that grip? What if you could allow yourself to fall, not into chaos, but into the arms of something much larger than yourself? Consider the way a river flows. It does not question its path, nor does it struggle against the rocks that might block its way. It simply moves, carving its course with a patience that spans centuries. The river knows where it is going, not because it has planned its journey, but because it trusts the pull of gravity, the call of the ocean. You too have a current within you, a flow that guides you toward your own ocean. Yet so often, you resist it. You build dams of fear and doubt, or you try to swim against the current, exhausting yourself in the process. What if, instead, you let the water carry you? What if you trusted that the river knows its way, even when you cannot see the destination? There is a quiet wisdom in the way the seasons change. Winter does not cling to its cold, nor does summer demand to stay forever. Each season knows its time, and in that knowing, there is a deep acceptance. You too are in a constant state of change, though it may feel uncomfortable at times. The joy you once felt may give way to sorrow, and the sorrow in turn may dissolve into peace. This is not a failure, but a natural rhythm, like the ebb and flow of the tides. What if, instead of resisting these changes, you could embrace them? What if you could see each moment not as something to be fixed or held on to, but as a fleeting gift, a single note in the symphony of your life? Think of the way a mountain stands, unmoved by the storms that rage around it. The wind may howl, the rain may pour, but the mountain remains, rooted in its stillness. You too have this capacity for stillness, though it may be buried beneath layers of noise and distraction. Stillness is not the absence of movement, but the presence of a deeper awareness, a knowing that you are more than the storms that pass through you. What if, in the midst of chaos, you could find that mountain within yourself? What if you could stand there not as a fortress, but as a witness, observing the storms without being consumed by them? There is a teaching in Buddhism that speaks of the middle way, a path between extremes. It is not about avoiding life's challenges, nor is it about seeking constant pleasure. It is about finding balance, a harmony that exists within the tension of opposites. You too are constantly navigating these extremes: joy and sorrow, success and failure, love and loss. The middle way invites you to see these not as enemies, but as two sides of the same coin. What if, instead of chasing one and fleeing the other, you could hold them both in your heart? What if you could find peace, not in the absence of struggle, but in the acceptance of it? Imagine the way a lotus grows. It begins in the mud, in the darkness and the muck, yet it does not stay there. Slowly it rises, pushing through the water until it reaches the surface, where it blooms into a thing of beauty. You too have grown through your own mud, through the struggles and the pain that have shaped you. The lotus does not judge the mud, nor does it wish it were different. It simply uses it as the foundation for its growth. What if you could see your own struggles in this way? What if you could honor them, not as obstacles, but as the very soil from which your beauty emerges? There is a practice in meditation where you simply observe your breath without trying to control it. You notice the way it moves in and out, like the tide. And in that noticing, you begin to feel a sense of connection to something greater than yourself. This is not about trying to become more relaxed or more focused, but about allowing yourself to be present exactly as you are. You too can bring this quality of presence to your life. What if, instead of trying to change your experience, you could simply be with it? What if you could see each moment not as something to be fixed, but as something to be felt? Think of the way the stars shine in the night sky. They do not compete with one another, nor do they try to outshine the darkness. They simply exist, each one a tiny beacon of light in the vast expanse. You too are like a star, a unique expression of the universe with your own light to offer. Yet so often you compare yourself to others, or you feel that your light is not enough. What if, instead of striving to be more, you could simply be? What if you could trust that your light, no matter how small, is an essential part of the whole? There is a story in Buddhism about a man who was shot by an arrow. The wound is painful, but instead of tending to it, he becomes consumed with questions. Who shot the arrow? Why did they shoot it? What kind of arrow was it? In his obsession with these questions, he fails to address the immediate reality of his suffering. You too can become lost in the stories you tell yourself, the explanations and justifications that keep you from facing what is right in front of you. What if, instead of searching for answers, you could simply be with the question? What if you could find peace, not in understanding, but in acceptance? Consider the way a bird sings. It does not sing because it has something to prove or because it is trying to be heard. It sings because it is alive, because it is moved by the joy of existence. You too have this song within you, though it may be buried beneath layers of doubt and fear. What if, instead of waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions, you could simply let your song emerge? What if you could trust that your voice, no matter how quiet, is a vital part of the chorus of life? As you sit with these reflections, you may notice a subtle shift within you, a softening, a loosening of the grip you have on your life. This is not something you need to force, nor is it something you need to achieve. It is simply the natural result of your willingness to be present, to allow yourself to be carried by the current, to trust in the wisdom of the seasons. There is no need to rush, no need to strive. Like the leaf, the river, the mountain, you are already exactly where you need to be. And in this knowing, there is a deep peace, a sense of coming home to yourself. The world around you is vast, yet it is not separate from you. It is a mirror reflecting the quiet depths of your own being. Think of it as a forest in the early hours of dawn, where the mist clings to the trees and the air is thick with silence. In this stillness, there is no need to strive, no need to grasp. The forest simply exists as it is, and so do you. There is a lesson here if you are willing to listen. The forest does not resist the changing seasons. It does not cling to the green of summer or mourn the bare branches of winter. It accepts each moment as it comes, and in that acceptance, it finds peace. You too can learn to rest in this same flow. Often, the mind is like a bird caught in a cage, fluttering against the bars, searching for escape. The bird does not realize that the door is already open. It need only stop struggling to find its freedom. Your thoughts, your worries, your endless plans, they are the bars of this cage. But the cage is an illusion. You are already free. The key is to stop fighting, to let go of the need to control, to allow life to unfold as it will. This is not passivity, but a deep trust in the natural order of things. Just as the river does not question its path, you need not question the direction of your life. It is already taking you where you need to go. When you sit quietly, when you allow yourself to simply be, you may notice something extraordinary. Beneath the surface of your thoughts, beneath the noise of your mind, there is a vast open space. This space is not empty. It is full of potential, full of life. It is the source of all that is, and it is within you. You are not separate from it, you are it. This is the essence of your being, the stillness that remains when everything else falls away. It is not something you need to find or create. It is already here, waiting for you to return to it. In this space, there is no judgment, no right or wrong. There is only what is. You may find that your worries lose their power here, that your fears dissolve like mist in the morning sun. This is not because they are unimportant, but because they are no longer the focus of your attention. You have stepped back into the vastness of your own awareness, and from this perspective, everything is seen in its true light. The challenges of life are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. The pain you feel is not a punishment, but a teacher. The joy you seek is not something to be chased, but something to be discovered within. Sometimes the world will seem harsh, unforgiving. The winds will howl, the rain will fall, and you may feel as though you are being tested. But remember, even the storm has a purpose. It clears the air. It nourishes the earth. It prepares the ground for new growth. You are no different. The difficulties you face are not there to break you, but to shape you. They are the tools of transformation, the chisel that carves the statue from the stone. And just as the sculptor does not rush, neither should you. Trust in the process. Trust in yourself. There will be moments when the path ahead is unclear, when you feel lost, adrift. In these moments, it is easy to cling to the familiar, to seek comfort in what you know. But the familiar is not always what you need. Sometimes the greatest growth comes from stepping into the unknown, from allowing yourself to be carried by the current of life. You may not know where it will take you, but that is part of the beauty. The unknown is full of possibility, full of wonder. It is the space where miracles happen, where the impossible becomes possible. And so, let go, not of your dreams, not of your desires, but of the need to control them. Allow them to unfold in their own time, in their own way. You are not the author of this story. You are the witness. And as the witness, your role is not to direct, but to observe, to experience, to be present. The story will write itself, and it will be far richer than anything you could have imagined. In the end, all you have is this moment. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, and the present is all there is. This moment, right now, is your life. It is the only thing that is real, the only thing that matters. And yet, how often do you miss it, lost in thought, lost in worry, lost in the endless chatter of your mind? You are here, but you are not present. You are alive, but you are not living. This is the great tragedy and the great opportunity, for in this moment, you have the chance to awaken, to truly see, to truly be. So take a breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. Feel the life flowing through you. Notice the world around you, the colors, the sounds, the sensations. This is your life happening right now. Do not let it pass you by. Do not wait for happiness to come to you. It is already here. It is in the way the light falls on the leaves, in the way the wind whispers through the trees, in the way your heart beats in your chest. It is in the simple, ordinary moments, the moments you so often overlook. These are the moments that matter. These are the moments that make up your life. And so relax. Let go of the need to be somewhere else, to be someone else. You are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly who you need to be. There is nothing to fix, nothing to change. There is only this, only now. And in this now there is peace. There is joy. There is love. You need only open your eyes, open your heart, and let it in. The air is still, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to exhale. Can you feel it? The subtle tension in your shoulders, the quiet hum of thoughts that circle like birds at dusk, never quite settling. You are here, in this moment, and yet your mind is elsewhere, tugged by the past, pulled by the future. But what if, just for now, you allowed yourself to rest? Not in sleep, but in wakefulness. Not in escape, but in presence. What if you simply let the world be as it is, and let yourself be as you are? Imagine a forest after a gentle rain. The earth is soft beneath your feet. The air carries the scent of damp leaves, and the trees stand tall, their branches heavy with droplets that catch the light. Each drop falls in its own time, unhurried, unforced. There is no rush, no need to cling. The forest does not resist the rain, nor does it demand it. It simply is. And in its being, it finds a quiet harmony. Can you see yourself in this forest? Can you feel the rhythm of your own life falling like rain, moment by moment, without the need to control or grasp? Buddhism speaks of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, often depicted as a wheel that turns endlessly. But what if this wheel is not a burden to escape, but a river to flow with? A river does not struggle against its course. It moves with the contours of the land, carving its path with patience and persistence. It does not resist the rocks that block its way. It flows around them, over them, through them. And in time, even the hardest stone is worn smooth. You too are like this river. Your life is not a straight line, but a winding path shaped by the terrain of your experiences. Can you trust the flow? Can you let go of the need to fight against the current and instead allow it to carry you? There is a story of a monk who sat by a river every day, watching the water flow. One day, a student asked him, "Master, why do you sit here so often?" The monk replied, "I sit here to learn how to be like the river." The student, puzzled, asked, "What does the river teach you?" The monk smiled and said, "It teaches me to let go. The river does not cling to the water that is past, nor does it fear the water that is yet to come. It simply flows." In this simple truth lies a profound lesson. The past is gone, the future is not yet here. All that exists is this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. Can you let go of what has been and release your grip on what might be? Can you be here now, like the river? But letting go is not the same as giving up. It is not a surrender to apathy or despair. It is an act of trust, a deep, abiding trust in the natural order of things. Just as the seasons change without effort, so too does life unfold in its own time. Spring does not rush to become summer, nor does autumn cling to its leaves. Each season has its purpose, its beauty, its lessons, and so do you. Your struggles, your joys, your moments of stillness, they are all part of the greater rhythm of existence. Can you see the beauty in this rhythm? Can you find peace in the knowledge that you are exactly where you need to be, even if it does not feel that way? There is a practice in Buddhism called zazen, or seated meditation. It is not about achieving a particular state of mind, but about simply sitting, breathing, and being. In this practice, there is no goal, no destination. There is only the act of sitting, the rise and fall of the breath, the awareness of the present moment. It is a practice of radical acceptance, a willingness to be with whatever arises, without judgment or resistance. Can you sit with yourself in this way? Can you allow yourself to be without the need to change or fix or improve? Can you find stillness within the movement and peace within the chaos? The mind is like a vast sky, and thoughts are like clouds that drift across it. Some are light and fleeting, others are dark and heavy. But the sky itself remains unchanged, untouched. It does not cling to the clouds, nor does it push them away. It simply holds them with infinite space and infinite patience. You too have this sky within you. No matter how stormy your thoughts may be, no matter how turbulent your emotions, there is a part of you that remains calm, clear, and unchanging. Can you connect with this part of yourself? Can you rest in the awareness that you are more than your thoughts, more than your feelings, more than your experiences? There is a saying in Buddhism, no mud, no lotus. The lotus flower grows in the mud, yet it rises above it, pure and beautiful. It does not reject the mud, nor does it become the mud. It simply uses it as the foundation for its growth. Your struggles, your pain, your challenges, they are the mud of your life. They are not something to be avoided or denied, but something to be embraced, for they are the soil from which your growth emerges. Can you see the lotus within you? Can you trust that even in the midst of difficulty, there is the potential for beauty, for transformation, for peace? Happiness is not something to be pursued, but something to be allowed. It is not a destination, but a state of being. It is not found in the external world, but in the internal landscape of your heart and mind. When you stop chasing it, when you stop trying to grasp it, it comes to you, like a butterfly that lands on your hand when you are still. Can you be still? Can you let go of the need to seek and instead allow happiness to find you? The world is vast and life is complex. There will always be challenges, always be moments of uncertainty and doubt. But within you lies a well of peace, a source of stillness that is always available, always present. It is not something you need to create or achieve. It is something you need only to remember. Can you remember? Can you return to this place within yourself again and again, no matter what the world brings? And so, as you sit here reading these words, take a moment to breathe. Feel the air entering your lungs, filling your body with life. Feel the ground beneath you, solid and steady. Feel the rhythm of your heart beating in time with the universe. You are here. You are alive. You are enough. And in this moment, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to be. There is only this breath, this heartbeat, this presence. Can you rest in it? Can you let it be enough? The world will continue to turn, the river will continue to flow, the seasons will continue to change, and you too will continue to move through life with all its ups and downs, its joys and sorrows. But in the midst of it all, there is a place of stillness, a place of peace, a place of acceptance. It is not something you need to find, for it is already within you. It is not something you need to earn, for it is already yours. It is simply there, waiting for you to remember, waiting for you to return. Can you return? Can you let go and let happiness come to you? The air is still, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to exhale. Can you feel it? The subtle tension in your shoulders, the quiet hum of thoughts that circle like birds at dusk, never quite settling. You are here, in this moment, and yet your mind is elsewhere, tugged by the past, pulled by the future. But what if, just for now, you allowed yourself to rest? Not in sleep, but in wakefulness. Not in escape, but in presence. What if you let the world carry you, like a leaf on the surface of a still pond, trusting the water to hold you without effort? Imagine, if you will, a forest in the early hours of dawn. The trees stand tall, their roots deep in the earth, their branches reaching toward the sky. They do not strain to grow, they simply grow. They do not resist the wind, they bend with it. They do not mourn the falling of their leaves. They release them, knowing that spring will come again. There is a wisdom in their stillness, a quiet acceptance of the rhythms of life. You too are part of this rhythm. Your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts, they are all part of the same flow. Can you feel it? The pulse of life that moves through you as natural and inevitable as the turning of the seasons. Sometimes you may feel as though you are fighting against the current, struggling to swim upstream in a river that seems determined to pull you under. But what if you stopped swimming? What if you allowed the river to carry you, trusting that it knows where it is going? The water may be cold, the current strong, but there is a kind of peace in surrender. It is not the peace of passivity, but the peace of acceptance. It is the understanding that you do not need to control everything, that you do not need to have all the answers. The river will take you where you need to go, even if you cannot see the destination. Think of the way a flower opens to the sun. It does not question whether it is worthy of the light. It simply turns its face toward it, allowing the warmth to fill its petals. You too can turn toward the light, not the light of the sun, but the light within you. It is always there, even when it feels hidden, even when the clouds of doubt and fear obscure it. You do not need to search for it, you only need to let it shine. And when you do, you will find that it illuminates not only your own path, but the paths of those around you. There is a story of a monk who sat by a river every day, watching the water flow. One day, a young disciple asked him, "Master, why do you sit here? What do you see in the river?" The monk smiled and said, "I see the river and I see myself. The river flows and I flow with it. The river is still and I am still with it. The river is everything and I am nothing." The disciple was confused. "But Master," he said, "if you are nothing, then what is the point of sitting here?" The monk laughed softly. "The point," he said, "is to sit here. You may not understand this story at first. It may seem cryptic, even nonsensical. But if you sit with it, if you let it settle in your mind like a pebble sinking to the bottom of a pond, you may begin to see its truth. The river is not just a river, it is a metaphor for life. It is the flow of time, the passage of moments, the endless cycle of birth and death, joy and sorrow, gain and loss. And you are not just you. You are a part of this flow, a drop of water in the vast ocean of existence. When you sit by the river, you are not separate from it. You are one with it. And in that oneness, there is peace. But peace is not something you can grasp or hold on to. It is not a destination or a goal. It is a state of being, a way of seeing the world. It is the understanding that everything is as it should be, even when it feels as though everything is falling apart. It is the recognition that you are enough just as you are, without needing to change or improve or become something else. It is the willingness to let go of the need to control, to fix, to solve. It is the courage to simply be. And yet being is not always easy. There are moments when the weight of the world feels too heavy, when the pain of loss or the sting of failure seems unbearable. In those moments, it is natural to want to turn away, to distract yourself, to numb the pain. But what if, instead of turning away, you turn toward it? What if you allowed yourself to feel the pain, to sit with it, to let it wash over you like a wave? You may find that it is not as overwhelming as you feared, that it is not as permanent as you thought. Like a storm that passes, the pain will subside, leaving behind a sense of clarity, of renewal. Think of the way the earth absorbs the rain. It does not resist the water. It welcomes it, allowing it to seep into the soil, nourishing the roots of the plants that grow there. In the same way, you can allow your experiences, both joyful and painful, to nourish you, to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world. You do not need to push away the difficult moments or cling to the happy ones. You can simply let them be, knowing that they are all part of the same tapestry woven together to create the fabric of your life. And so, as you sit here, in this moment, let yourself relax. Let your shoulders drop, your breath deepen, your mind quiet. You do not need to do anything, to be anything, to achieve anything. You are already enough. The world is already enough. The river is flowing, the sun is shining, the trees are growing, and you are here, a part of it all. Can you feel it? The peace that comes from simply being, from letting go, from trusting the flow of life. It is not something you need to find, it is something you already have. You only need to remember it. The air is still, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to exhale. Can you feel it? The quiet hum of existence, the gentle pulse of life that moves through everything, through the swaying trees, the distant mountains, the soft rustle of leaves underfoot. It is here in this stillness that you begin to notice something profound. The world does not demand your effort to continue. It simply is. And so too are you. Imagine yourself as a leaf floating on the surface of a vast, tranquil lake. The water carries you effortlessly, its currents neither hurried nor slow, but perfectly attuned to the rhythm of the moment. You do not need to paddle, to struggle, to force your way forward. The lake knows where it is going, and it takes you with it. Can you trust this? Can you let go of the need to control, to grasp, to resist? The leaf does not question the water. It simply rests, allowing itself to be carried. And in that surrender, it finds peace. There is a story told in the whispers of the wind, a story of a monk who sat by a river for many years, watching the water flow. One day, a traveler approached and asked, "What have you learned from this river?" The monk smiled and said, "The river does not try to be anything other than what it is. It does not resist the rocks in its path. It flows around them. It does not cling to the banks. It moves on. It does not fear the sea. It becomes it." The traveler, puzzled, asked, "But what does this mean for me?" The monk replied, "Be like the river. Let life flow through you, not against you. You too are a part of this flow. Your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences, they are like the water, ever changing, ever moving. When you try to hold on to them, to freeze them in place, you create resistance, you create suffering. But when you allow them to pass, like the river allows the water to pass, you find a deeper sense of ease. This is not about indifference or apathy. It is about acceptance. It is about recognizing that everything is transient, and that this transience is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Think of the seasons. The earth does not mourn the loss of summer as it gives way to autumn. It does not cling to the blossoms of spring, nor does it resist the cold of winter. It simply moves through each season, knowing that each has its time, its purpose, its beauty. And so it is with you. The seasons of your life, joy, sorrow, growth, stillness, are not meant to be controlled. They are meant to be lived. There is a quiet wisdom in the way the earth accepts its cycles, in the way the river accepts its course. It is a wisdom that does not need to be learned, but remembered. You already know this, deep within you. You have felt it in moments of stillness, in the spaces between thoughts, in the quiet corners of your heart. It is the knowing that you are not separate from the world, but a part of it, that you are not a drop of water, but the entire ocean. When you sit in stillness, when you allow yourself to simply be, you begin to touch this knowing. You begin to see that the peace you seek is not something to be found, but something to be uncovered. It is already here within you, like the sun behind the clouds. The clouds may come and go, but the sun remains, constant and unchanging. So, let the clouds pass. Let the thoughts, the worries, the fears, the desires all pass. You do not need to chase them away, nor do you need to hold on to them. Simply observe them as you would observe the clouds in the sky. They are not you. They are just passing through. And as you sit in the stillness, as you allow yourself to be carried by the flow of life, you may begin to notice something else, a sense of lightness, of ease, of joy. It is not the kind of joy that comes from external circumstances, but the kind that arises from within, like a spring bubbling up from the earth. It is the joy of being alive, of being a part of this vast, interconnected web of existence. This joy does not need to be earned. It does not need to be sought. It is already here waiting for you to notice it. All you need to do is relax, to let go, to allow it to rise to the surface. So take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs and then release it, letting go of everything that no longer serves you. Feel the weight of your body, grounded and supported by the earth. Feel the rhythm of your heart, steady and sure. And in this moment, know that you are exactly where you need to be. The world is not asking you to be anything other than what you are. It is not asking you to strive, to achieve, to prove yourself. It is simply asking you to be present, to be open, to be alive. And in this being, in this presence, you may find that happiness is not something that comes to you, but something that arises within you. It is not a destination, but a way of being. It is not something to be grasped, but something to be allowed. So let it come, let it flow, let it be. And in this letting, you may find that you have always been whole, always been complete, always been at peace. The world is still, and so are you. And in this stillness, everything is possible. The air is still, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to exhale. Can you feel it? The subtle tension in your shoulders, the quiet hum of thoughts that circle like birds at dusk, never quite settling. You are here, in this moment, and yet your mind is elsewhere, tugged by the past, pulled by the future. But what if just for now you allowed yourself to rest? Not in sleep, but in wakefulness. Not in escape, but in presence. What if you let the weight of your striving fall away, like leaves drifting from a tree in autumn, trusting that the ground will catch them? Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast meadow, the grass swaying gently in the breeze. Each blade is a moment, a breath, a heartbeat. You could walk through it, trying to count every blade, to measure its height, to understand its purpose. Or you could simply stand still and let the meadow be what it is, a living, breathing whole, neither for you nor against you, but simply being. This is the essence of acceptance. It is not resignation, nor is it indifference. It is the quiet recognition that life, in all its complexity, is already complete. You do not need to fix it, control it, or even fully understand it. You need only to meet it as it is with an open heart. Think of the seasons. They do not rush. Spring does not begrudge the slowness of winter, nor does summer demand that autumn hurry. Each season unfolds in its own time, a symphony of change that is both inevitable and beautiful. Your life, too, is a season. There are moments of blossoming, of abundance, of letting go, of stillness. And yet, how often do you resist the natural rhythm of your own existence? How often do you cling to what is passing or push away what is arriving? The Buddha taught that suffering arises from this very resistance, from the desire for things to be other than they are. But what if, instead of resisting, you softened? What if you allowed yourself to flow with the current of your life, like a leaf on a gentle stream? There is a story of a monk who sat by a river every day, watching the water flow. One day, a student asked him, "Master, why do you sit here so often?" The monk replied, "I am learning from the river. It does not struggle to reach the sea. It does not worry about the rocks in its path. It simply flows, and in its flowing, it finds its way." The river does not need to be told how to be a river. It does not need to be taught how to move, how to bend, how to nourish the land it passes through. It simply is. And in its being, it is perfect. Can you see yourself in the river? Can you trust that, like the water, you too are already whole, already complete, already on your way? But perhaps this feels too abstract, too distant from the reality of your daily life. You may be thinking, how can I simply be when there are bills to pay, relationships to navigate, dreams to pursue? And yet, it is precisely in the midst of these ordinary moments that the practice of acceptance becomes most powerful. It is not about ignoring your responsibilities or denying your desires. It is about meeting them with a different quality of attention, a softer, more spacious awareness. When you sit down to pay your bills, can you do so without resentment, without the story of burden or lack? When you speak to a loved one, can you listen without the need to fix or judge? When you pursue your dreams, can you do so without clinging to the outcome? This is the art of living with an open hand, of holding your life lightly, like a bird that you neither grasp nor release, but simply allow to perch. There is a deep peace that comes from this way of being. It is not the peace of absence, of a life free from challenge or pain, but the peace of presence. It is the peace of knowing that no matter what arises, you have the capacity to meet it with grace. This peace is not something you need to create or achieve. It is already within you, like the stillness at the center of a storm. You need only to turn toward it, to rest in it, to let it hold you. And so as you move through your day, I invite you to pause, not to stop what you are doing, but to bring a gentle awareness to it. Feel the weight of your body in the chair, the rhythm of your breath, the play of light and shadow around you. Notice the thoughts that arise, not as intruders, but as passing clouds in the vast sky of your mind. You do not need to chase them away or hold on to them. You can simply let them be, and in doing so, let yourself be. This is the practice of relaxation, not as a means to an end, but as an end in itself. It is the practice of letting happiness come to you, not because you have earned it, but because it is already here, woven into the fabric of your being. Like the sun that rises without effort, like the flower that blooms without striving, happiness is not something you need to seek. It is something you need to allow. And so, as you close this chapter, I invite you to take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, the life force moving through you. You are here in this moment, and this moment is enough. It is more than enough. It is everything. And in this everything, there is peace. There is joy. There is you. The air is still, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to exhale. Can you feel it? The subtle tension in your shoulders, the quiet hum of thoughts that circle like birds at dusk, never quite settling. You are here in this moment, and yet your mind is elsewhere, tugged by the past, pulled by the future. But what if, just for now, you allowed yourself to rest, not in sleep, but in wakefulness, not in escape, but in presence? What if you let the weight of your striving fall away, like leaves drifting from a tree in autumn, trusting that the ground will catch them? Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast meadow, the grass swaying in a rhythm older than time. The wind carries no urgency, no demand. It simply is, and so are you. There is no need to chase happiness here, no need to grasp at it as though it were a butterfly that might flutter away. Happiness, like the wind, is already present. It is not something to be found, but something to be allowed. Can you feel it brushing against your skin, whispering to your soul? It is not loud or insistent. It is soft, patient, waiting for you to notice. You have been taught, perhaps, that happiness is a destination, a place you must reach through effort and struggle. But what if it is not a place at all? What if it is a state of being, as natural and effortless as the way the sun rises each morning? The sun does not strain to shine, it simply does. And yet its light transforms the world. In the same way, your own light, your capacity for peace, for joy, does not need to be forced. It only needs to be acknowledged, like a seed that already holds the potential for a towering tree. Think of the seasons, how they flow into one another without resistance. Winter does not cling to its snow, nor does summer begrudge the coming of autumn. Each season knows its time, and in that knowing, there is a deep acceptance. Can you see yourself in this cycle? Can you allow yourself to be as you are, without judgment, without the need to be more or less? There is a quiet wisdom in the way nature surrenders to change. And perhaps there is wisdom in you too, if you listen closely. You may wonder, how can I find this acceptance? How can I let go of the need to control, to fix, to improve? The answer is not in doing, but in undoing. It is in the gentle act of releasing, like a bird opening its wings to the sky. You do not need to know how to fly. You only need to trust that the air will hold you. This is not a call to passivity, but to a deeper kind of action, one that arises from stillness, like a river that flows effortlessly because it knows its course. There is a story of a monk who sat by a river for many years, watching the water. One day, a traveler asked him what he had learned. The monk replied, "The river does not try to be anything other than what it is. It does not struggle to flow faster or slower. It simply moves, and in its movement, it finds its way." The traveler, puzzled, asked, "But how does this help me?" The monk smiled and said, "When you stop trying to be something you are not, you will find that you are already where you need to be." Can you hear the truth in these words? Can you feel the invitation to let go of the need to be different, to be better, to be more? You are already enough, just as the river is enough, just as the meadow is enough. There is a profound freedom in this realization, a freedom that comes not from changing yourself, but from accepting yourself. It is the freedom to be without apology, without fear. And yet, acceptance does not mean resignation. It does not mean giving up on growth or turning away from life's challenges. It means meeting those challenges with an open heart, without the weight of resistance. It means seeing yourself and your life as they are, not as you wish them to be. In this seeing, there is a kind of clarity, like the way a still pond reflects the sky without distortion. You may find as you sit with this truth that there is a quiet joy in simply being. It is not the kind of joy that leaps and shouts, but the kind that settles deep within, like a warm ember in the heart. It is the joy of knowing that you are part of something vast and beautiful, something that does not need to be earned or achieved. It is the joy of belonging, not to a place or a role, but to the very fabric of existence. So take a moment to breathe. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, the way your body knows how to sustain itself without your conscious effort. There is a wisdom in your breath, a rhythm that has been with you since the moment you were born. It is a reminder that you are alive, that you are here, and that this is enough. You do not need to do anything to deserve this moment. It is already yours. As you sit in this stillness, you may notice thoughts arising, memories, worries, plans. Do not push them away. Let them come and go, like clouds passing across the sky. They are not you. They are simply part of the landscape of your mind. And just as the sky is not diminished by the clouds, you are not diminished by your thoughts. You are the vastness that holds them, the stillness that remains when they have passed. This is the essence of letting go. Not the absence of thought or feeling, but the presence of awareness. It is the ability to be with what is, without clinging or resisting. It is the recognition that you are not your struggles, your fears, or your desires. You are the one who observes them, the one who can choose to let them be. And in this letting be, there is a kind of peace. It is not the peace of a world without problems, but the peace of a heart that knows it can handle whatever comes. It is the peace of a tree that stands tall in the storm, its roots deep, its branches flexible. It is the peace of a river that flows, not because it has all the answers, but because it trusts the journey. So let yourself relax. Let yourself be. You do not need to chase happiness. It is already here, waiting for you to notice. It is in the way the light falls on the leaves, in the sound of your own breath, in the quiet space between thoughts. It is in the simple act of being alive, of being part of this vast, interconnected web of existence. And as you sit in this awareness, you may find that happiness is not something that comes to you, but something that arises within you. It is not a destination, but a way of being. It is the natural state of a heart that is open, a mind that is still, a soul that is at peace. So let go. let the world be as it is, and let yourself be as you are. In this letting go, you may find that happiness has been with you all along, like the sun behind the clouds, waiting for the moment when you would look up and see. The air is still, as though the world itself is holding its breath. You sit, perhaps on a cushion, perhaps on the grass, and you feel the weight of your thoughts pressing against the edges of your mind. They are like leaves caught in a gentle breeze, fluttering, restless, always moving. You try to hold them still, to grasp them, but they slip through your fingers like water. And so you sit and you breathe and you let them be. This is the first lesson: to relax, not because you must, but because you can. To relax is not to surrender to idleness, but to surrender to the flow of life itself. It is to let the river of existence carry you, rather than swimming against its current. Imagine yourself as a stone in that river, smooth, worn by time, unyielding yet yielding. The water flows around you, over you, and you do not resist. You do not struggle to change its course. You simply are. The river does not pause to ask if you are ready. It moves as it always has, as it always will. And in that movement, there is a kind of peace. It is not the peace of stillness, but the peace of acceptance. You are here, and the river is here, and for this moment, that is enough. The seasons, too, offer their wisdom. Winter teaches us the value of rest, of turning inward, of allowing the earth to lie fallow so that it may bloom again in spring. Summer reminds us of abundance, of the fullness of life, of the warmth that comes from connection and growth. Autumn shows us the beauty of letting go, of releasing what no longer serves us, of making space for what is to come. And spring, with its delicate blossoms and tender shoots, whispers of renewal, of the endless cycle of beginnings and endings. Each season has its place, its purpose, its lesson, and so it is with the seasons of your life. There are times to hold on and times to let go, times to act and times to simply be. But what does it mean to simply be? It is not to do nothing, but to do without striving. It is to exist without the weight of expectation, without the need to prove or achieve or accumulate. It is to sit with yourself as you are in this moment and to know that you are enough. This is not always easy. The mind is a restless creature, always seeking, always questioning. It tells you that you must be more, do more, have more. But beneath that chatter, beneath the noise and the clutter, there is a quiet place. A place where you are whole, just as you are. A place where you can rest. To rest is not to escape, but to return. To return to yourself, to the present moment, to the truth of who you are. It is to let go of the stories you tell yourself, the roles you play, the masks you wear. It is to strip away the layers of conditioning, of fear, of desire, until all that remains is the essence of your being. And in that essence, there is peace, there is joy, there is freedom. But how do you find that place? How do you let go of the thoughts, the worries, the doubts that cling to you like shadows? The answer is simple, though not always easy. You soften. You soften your grip on the things you think you need, the things you think you are. You soften your resistance to what is, to what has been, to what will be. You soften your heart, your mind, your body, until you are open, receptive, fluid. And in that softness, there is space. Space for peace, for joy, for love. Space for life to unfold as it will. This is not to say that you will never feel pain or fear or anger. To be human is to feel deeply and fully. But when you soften, when you open, those feelings no longer define you. They are like clouds passing across the sky, here for a time, then gone. And beneath them, the sky remains, vast and clear and unchanging. That sky is your true nature. It is the essence of who you are. Beyond the temporary storms of emotion, beyond the fleeting concerns of the mind. And so you sit and you breathe and you soften. You let the river of life carry you, trusting in its flow. You let the seasons of your heart turn, knowing that each has its purpose. You let go of the need to control, to fix, to change. And in that letting go, you find a kind of freedom. It is not the freedom of having everything you want, but the freedom of wanting nothing. It is the freedom of being fully present, fully alive, fully yourself. In this moment, there is no past, no future. There is only now. And in this now, there is peace. It is not the peace of the world, but the peace of your own heart. It is not something you must seek, but something you already have. It is not something you must create, but something you must allow. Allow it to rise within you, like the sun breaking through the clouds. Allow it to fill you, to guide you, to sustain you. Allow it to be. And as you sit and you breathe and you soften, you may notice something. The world around you begins to change, not because it has, but because you have. The colors seem brighter, the sounds clearer, the air sweeter. The people you meet seem kinder. The challenges you face seem lighter. The moments of joy seem fuller. This is not because the world has become different, but because you have. You have relaxed into the flow of life, into the truth of who you are. And in that relaxation, there is happiness. It is not the happiness of external circumstances, but the happiness of inner peace. It is not something that comes to you, but something that arises within you. It is not something you must chase, but something you must allow. Allow it to be. Allow yourself to be. And in that allowing, you will find that happiness has always been there, waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to embrace it. So sit and breathe and soften. Let the river of life carry you. Let the seasons of your heart turn. Let go of the need to control, to fix, to change. And in that letting go, you will find peace. You will find joy. You will find freedom. You will find yourself. And in that finding, you will know that you have always been enough, just as you are. You have always been whole. You have always been home. Imagine for a moment standing at the edge of a vast open field just as the sun begins to rise. The sky is painted in soft hues of pink and gold, and the air carries the faint scent of dew-kissed grass. There is no wind, only stillness, as though the world itself is holding its breath. In this quiet, you are invited to step into a space where nothing is demanded of you, nothing is urgent, and nothing needs to be fixed. Here in this moment, you are free to simply be. This field is much like the mind, vast, open, and capable of holding infinite possibilities. Just as the sun rises without effort, so too does happiness emerge when you allow it. It does not need to be chased, nor does it need to be manufactured. It is already there, like the light that spills over the horizon, waiting to illuminate your inner landscape. But to see it, to feel it, you must first relax into the stillness. You may wonder, how does one relax into such a state? It is not about forcing the mind to be quiet or pushing away the thoughts that swirl like autumn leaves in a breeze. It is about acceptance, about letting the leaves fall where they may, without grasping or resistance. Imagine sitting by a lake on a calm afternoon. The surface of the water reflects the sky, the trees, the clouds above. If you were to throw a stone into the lake, ripples would form, distorting the reflection. But if you wait patiently, the water will return to its natural state of calm. The ripples are not wrong. They are simply part of the lake's experience. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions are not enemies to be vanquished. They are ripples on the surface of your mind, and they too will settle when you stop trying to control them. There is a certain grace in allowing life to unfold as it will. Think of a seed buried in the earth. It does not struggle to grow. It does not question whether it is worthy of sunlight or rain. It simply trusts the process, allowing the soil to nourish it and the seasons to guide it. In time, it becomes a tree, its branches reaching toward the sky, its roots anchoring it firmly in the ground. You too are like this seed. You do not need to force your growth or measure your progress against some imagined standard. You only need to trust the natural flow of your life, to rest in the knowledge that you are exactly where you need to be. This trust is not always easy to cultivate. The world often tells you that you must strive, that you must achieve, that you must constantly be moving towards something. But what if you pause, even for a moment, and consider that happiness is not a destination? It is not something you arrive at after completing a checklist or reaching a milestone. It is the quiet joy of watching a bird soar across the sky, the warmth of a cup of tea in your hands, the sound of laughter shared with a loved one. It is in the ordinary moments, the ones that often go unnoticed, that happiness resides. To find it, you need only to slow down, to soften your gaze, and to open your heart. Imagine walking through a forest in the early morning. The air is cool, and the light filters through the trees in gentle beams. You notice the way the moss clings to the bark of an ancient oak, the way the sunlight dances on the surface of a stream, the way the earth feels beneath your feet. Each step is a reminder that you are part of something greater, that you are connected to the world around you in ways that are both simple and profound. This connection is at the heart of inner peace. It is the understanding that you are not separate from the world, but deeply intertwined with it. The same energy that flows through the trees, the rivers, and the stars also flows through you. When you remember this, you begin to see that the boundaries you have drawn around yourself, the ones that tell you what you should be, what you should do, what you should feel, are illusory. They are like shadows cast by the mind, and they dissolve when you turn your attention toward the light. And yet, there will still be moments when the shadows seem real, when the weight of the world feels heavy on your shoulders. In those moments, it is okay to rest. It is okay to sit with the heaviness, to acknowledge it without judgment. Imagine a cloud passing over the sun. It may darken the sky for a time, but it does not change the nature of the sun. The light is still there, waiting to break through. In the same way, your inner peace is not destroyed by the challenges you face. It is always there, waiting for you to return to it. Returning to this peace does not require grand gestures or elaborate rituals. It can be as simple as taking a deep breath, feeling the rise and fall of your chest, and noticing the rhythm of your heartbeat. It can be as gentle as closing your eyes and listening to the sounds around you. The hum of the wind, the chirping of birds, the distant murmur of life. It is in these small, mindful acts that you begin to reconnect with the essence of who you are. And who are you, truly? You are not the sum of your accomplishments or the stories you tell yourself. You are not the roles you play or the expectations you carry. You are the awareness that observes it all, the stillness that remains when everything else falls away. You are the field at sunrise, the lake at dusk, the seed nestled in the earth. You are the light that cannot be extinguished, the peace that cannot be disturbed. When you rest in this knowing, you begin to see that happiness is not something that comes to you from outside. It is not dependent on circumstances or conditions. It is the natural state of your being, as effortless and boundless as the sky. You do not need to seek it because it is already within you, waiting to be discovered. So take a moment now to pause, to breathe, to soften. Let go of the need to strive, to fix, to control. Allow yourself to be exactly as you are in this moment without judgment or resistance. And as you do, notice how the world around you begins to shift. The colors seem brighter, the sounds more vivid, the air more alive. This is not because the world has changed, but because you have. You have opened yourself to the possibility of happiness, and in doing so, you have allowed it to flow into your life like a river returning to the sea. And so, in this moment, you are free. Free to be, free to rest, free to simply exist in the beauty of what is. And in that freedom, happiness finds you, not as a reward, but as a gift. It is always there, always waiting, always yours. All you need to do is relax and let it in.